All right. Okay, here we are. We are back. We are back. We are back for day 3. I do apologize that we had a little interruption in our week, but we are back for day 3. So I am Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration, and we have been going live every night discussing my book, Dear Single in Love. This is a book that I wrote I really wrote it in 2017 and I finally put it out in 2018. But this is a book that we have been discussing. We have already gone through chapters 1 to 3. So you can either go on my page. If you're on Facebook, you can go on my page. You will be able to find those recordings. For those of you that are on Instagram, you can do the same thing. The recordings are on Instagram. I'm also uploading the recordings to YouTube. So you definitely have access to all of the recordings. So we are going to definitely jump right into it and get started because I like to respect everyone's time. All right, so chapter 4, day 3. So chapter 4 is a chapter that really it's an extension of chapter 2. So chapter 2, principle 2 discusses building that relationship with God, right? Really starting to learn, how do you hear God? How do you communicate with him? Chapter 4 is going to actually take you to the practice of that. Okay. While you are in this season of single, you want to get into the practice of speaking to God and asking him questions. And the more that you ask God questions, he has the ability to give you answers. And the more that you give him the ability to give you answers, the sooner that you're able to distinguish whether you can move on and off. And honestly, this applies to every aspect. So we can honestly take this principle and apply it to job searching, right? I have actually had clients that I informed them, like, replace who is he and say, is this a job that I should take? Is this a place that I should apply to? Right? When we start to apply this to every aspect of our lives, we start to see a major change in our lives. Okay. So principle 4. So a lot of times when we are meeting individuals, we get this mindset, especially, I don't want to just say women, because women are not the only ones that are doing this. Men do it too, especially men that want to be married. So we get into this mindset of like, maybe this person is the person. And one thing I want us to understand is that every encounter that we have with individuals is not going to be your person. When we meet people, they can be a blessing, a lesson, a test, or they can simply be the person for you. Now, I do put a disclaimer because even God had to correct me about this recently. I was in the mindset of saying to myself, like, you know what, God, I'm tired of having friends. I don't want to meet any more guy friends. I just want to meet my person. And God had to correct me because so often we do get into that mindset because we feel like I'm wasting time. And yes, in a way you are wasting time. If you're wasting time, if you already know this person is not your person. But if you are blocking new connections to come in, so if you have that Drake mindset of no new friends, you could be blocking a business opportunity. You could be blocking a financial blessing being sent into your life. So often, because society and the world has, pushed this agenda that, oh yeah, they come into your DMs, they're just looking for one thing. Some people might be coming into your DMs to give you a business opportunity. They might have been watching you for some time and might want to, bring you on to their team. Or they might just want to sew into you and they need to engage in that initial conversation with you. So if you're blocking that, then you are going to miss out on all the things that God needs for you. So we have to stop with the mindset of, if he's not my person, I don't want to be bothered, right? Do not get into that mindset because you never know where that connection could potentially lead you to, okay? So when you do meet someone, now I didn't start doing this until 2016. Okay. 2016, I got into this habit of anytime a guy would try to approach me, I would ask God, did you send this person? Like, who is he to me? What is the purpose of this? Again, did you send this person? Who is he to me? What is the purpose of this? When I started to do that, I started to like weave out a lot of unnecessary connections. Okay. So I normally start with did you send this person? That's usually the first thing that I normally ask someone. Did you send this person into my life? Because I have the understanding that a person could be a blessing or a lesson. Right. And I'm hoping that in some aspects, they're going to be a blessing. And we're going to talk about this because I'm going to actually read a part from my book, but we're going to actually realize that every blessing is not going to bless you. There's going to be times when God is going to send someone into your life that you're going to bless. I'm going to say that again. Every blessing is not going to be a blessing for you. Some people are being sent into your life so that you can bless them. So we got to start realizing that these are some of the principles that we need to start to apply, start paying attention to. And the reason why I say we need to ask God, hey, did you send this person into my life? And this could be something you just simply, like I said, remember I said the other night where I think I had shared the story of someone, like I'm in Subway and someone said to me, I said a prayer silently to God and I asked God, it would be nice if someone would have, brought me lunch. And instantly that person, turned around and brought me lunch. So you can simply ask God, did you send this person? And you can ask that question. And again, as you are developing that relationship with God, you're going to start realizing what does yes mean, what does no mean. It's going to be different for every single person. So that is something that I cannot say you're going to just hear it instantly. Like it's going to be like a loud yes. It could be within your stomach. It could be a twitch. You can like sometimes when God is speaking to me, my left ear will clog just out of nowhere. And I'm just like, what's going on? But that's when I start paying attention. A lot of times I get like sensations. I could just be sitting there and it just feels like there is a presence like right on my left leg. And I kid you not, and it's always the left leg, never the right, always the left. The reason why we want to get into this habit is because the devil also knows, especially if you have the energy, right? So some of you don't realize you do carry this energy of lonely. I'm lonely or I'm desperate. So the devil knows that. So he's also going to hear and he's going to be like, hey, let me send this person over there too. So he can also send his little minions around to kind of distract you, get you thrown off course because that's a part of the agenda, right? The devil does not want you to meet your person. So he's going to do everything and his willpower to stop that. So we got to really start working on how to start having these conversations, how to start to incorporate this and really get into the habit of asking questions and asking God those questions, okay? So that's the basis of it. So part of chapter 4 is we cannot be so quick to move into new relationships, right? We don't want to jump into a new relationship just because the person is attractive. So this is why we should not get fixated on material things. Let me tell you how one time I literally, and this is well before I had like a serious relationship with God. I want to say back in like 2007, 2008, walking down the street with my cousin. I kept saying to my cousin, I cannot wait to meet a man that got like an expensive car. I remember saying this to my cousin. I'm young, my early 20s. And I just kept saying it. And literally within like 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes of me saying this, a guy in this big Escalade, white Escalade, caught my eye. We caught each other's eye. He pulled over, like he did a whole U-turn, pulled over, and he started talking to me. And I probably spoke to him for maybe like a matter of like 3-4 days. And it was like, yeah, you were attracted to the physical. You're attracted to the person, the physical, the luxury cars. So here I had someone with a beautiful luxury car. He had money. And I remember one day being in the car with him and he had said something crazy to me. And I remember asking God, like, I think I need to like let this go. And I instantly just was like, look, this is not going to work. And again, this is well before I really had a relationship with God. So I'm like, okay, I'm happy that, when I think back, I'm happy that I had that level of wisdom, or, some people call it intuition, to know that this person was not the person. So yes, he had a nice car. Yes, he had money. But I got this energy of abuse. Like I felt like he was an abusive person. And that's within 3 days of entertaining this interaction. So sometimes we have to realize, if we get into the habit of asking God, like, did you send this person? Did you send this person, right? It's going to help us to weed out those interactions that are not what we need to be entertaining. Okay, so we do have to get away from the expensive looking jewelry. And I emphasize looking because a lot of them don't wear expensive jewelry. A lot of them are going to Claire's, right? Ocho Cinco, the famous football player, he said he's not buying $10,000 and $80,000 diamond earrings. He goes and buy $8 to $10 diamond studs from Claire's, right? I honestly don't blame him. They was making jokes about him, but he said, from a distance, you can't tell the difference. Guess what? He was not wrong. Okay. Don't get fixated on to have big houses or multiple homes, right? The physical looks. Like I said, yesterday we spoke a lot about the physical, getting away from focusing on the physical characteristics. So when you are asking God and you're just like, you have these things in your mind, it really starts to give you the understanding, like, all right, God, I need you to help me because I could be blinded. And we're not perfect. There could be a moment of weakness and you see someone who's your type, right? Whatever your type is, you can meet that person, or you might connect with them. Something about them that you're like, I really like this person. You can get that connection. This is where you got to truly pause and say, all right, God, I need you right now to tell me, who is this person? Did you send this person into my life? Do I even need to entertain this? All right. And if you do feel that there are any feelings being present, this is where I say you have to ask God. And like I said before, do not block every connection. Like I said, I have met several women, especially women, and I was guilty of this myself. I got into this mindset of, well, if he's not my husband, I don't want to be friends with anyone. Again, we do not know if that connection is going to be a blessing for you, a new job. Like I've heard so many stories where people have been blessed. They met someone, especially of the opposite sex, and that person blessed them with a car because God was like, I was sent here. God said to give you this car. God said to, give you $1,000. So just because that person is not your person, or you're not physically attracted to that person, do not block that connection. Okay. So we got to get into this habit. And again, as you continue to develop this relationship with God, it becomes a little bit easier. It's not going to be easy overnight. So sometimes God is going to say no. Not sometimes. A lot of times God is going to say no. So let's start on the no side. So if God says no, and you're probably saying, well, why? Like, God, why? Like he's everything that I want. And again, remember I said yesterday, you may have, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, you have that list, right? Of the things that you need. You could meet someone that has all of your needs, right? You might have been talking to them one day, a week, a month, and they meet everything on your needs. You're like, this gotta be my person. And then you're like, you know what? You might wait a week, 2 weeks. God, is this my person? And God would say no. God might just be really trying to see, are you paying attention? Right? He really just want to test you. Are you going to pay attention? Are you paying attention to what I am showing you? Because sometimes we get so stuck on it, they may have, number one of the list of the characteristics is he has to have a job. This person may have a job in 2 businesses. He might be extremely wealthy. So you're like, this has got to be the person. And God might be like, yeah, but what else is going on, right? So this is where we got to look at those red flags. A lot of us probably have had people come into our lives and they're constantly complaining about money, or they have money issues, right? For me, and not to say that your person may not have any money issues, but again, remember we said the other night, one of the characteristics is that person is going to have problem-solving skills, right? If that person is not, if you're not the solution to help them, if they just come and see you, oh man, my money is crazy. Oh man, I don't have car fare. Oh man, I don't have any gas money. That might be a sign that this is not the season for this person to be dating. Right. And I have told guys, maybe you need to focus on, establishing a financial plan. Like I actually stopped dating a guy because every 2 weeks he was crying. The weeks that he did not get paid, he was crying, like literally, like literal tears, because he had no money to get to work. And the one thing that I did help him with, and I don't know if he actually implemented, but I said, okay, every time you get paid, New York City, I used to love, remember we had the Metro cards the unlimited Metro cards every 2 weeks. Like I used to love those Metro cards. So I said to him, I said, you get paid every 2 weeks, you need a Metro card. When you get paid, maybe you should get a Metro card, get 2 Metro cards, right? And this way you're able to already cover your transportation, right? Because at the end of the day, you need to get to work. So if you don't have a car, if you're not in walking distance of your job, then you need to at least be able to have your transportation covered so that you can get to work, right? Then this was back when Uber Eats had just started the Uber Eats walking. They lived in a city. And so that was one of the first markets that they tried. I said, hey, and this person used to love walking. I said, you know what, maybe you should try signing up for Uber Eats, do some walking deliveries. At minimum, you could probably make at least car fare for that week, for a couple of days, a couple of hours, few days a week, make your car fare. And that way you don't have to use that money from your paycheck. Quote unquote, he said to me, that's for poor people. And I was confused because at that time he was poor. And I mean, I'm not being funny, but it just gave me a mindset of that this person does not have good money management and this person does not have problem solving skills. You definitely cannot be my partner, right? So I had to stop and I told him, you need to focus on something else. And it's not trying to find a girlfriend or a wife, right? Someone who only wants sex. So we know the signs. They only text you. They don't text you all day, but then at 11 o'clock at night, hey girl, what you doing? Oh, I want to see you. You want to come out? No. Why we can't go out to have coffee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday? Why must you contact me at 11 o'clock at night when everything is closed? Right? I was just down in Myrtle Beach. Can you imagine people living in the Myrtle Beach down south, like North Carolina, South Carolina? Everything closes right now like 9, 10 o'clock. So if you're calling me at 11, that means no Applebee's, no nothing. So what do you actually want? You have a one-track mind. That's a red flag, okay? When I was in my early 20s, I used to meet guys, they never wanted to go out. Always want to stay indoors. Oh, when they give you that line, pay attention to these lines. I'm a homebody. I don't care that you're a homebody. There's something out there that we can do. There's something out there. We can go see a movie. We can go see a matinee. Right, matinees are with AMC 30% off for a matinee. There's Groupons. So there's always a way to work around something. There's something out there that does interest you. So let's actually look into that and explore that part. They frown upon your relationship with God, right? If you are a true believer, you just, like I said, it doesn't have to be as you go to church every Sunday. It's going to look different for everyone. But once you tell someone, I believe in God, and then they be like, I don't got time for that. That's definitely a red flag. Then that person cannot be sent to you from God because they don't believe in God, and then they're frowning upon your relationship with God. They focus on their material accomplishments. That is a major red flag. Because if all they can talk about is, the car that they have, the jewelries, how much they make, I've always said I never like a guy that would tell you, on the first day, yeah, I make $150,000 a year. Congratulations. Are you a nice person? Are you generous? Can you make me laugh? If I'm down, can you pray for me at the minimum? You know what I'm saying? Those are the kind of things that we got to start paying attention to. So when God says no, you have to realize there was something, either that person had all or nothing on that list of your needs, or God knows all of us better than we know ourselves. right? So if he knows everything, he knows all of our needs, he knows this person in and out, he is going to want to protect you. And but we have to continue to practice that discernment. As we are practicing that discernment, we are going to realize, like, okay, God, you said no, and I'm going to respect that no. Now, sometimes God will say yes. Now, I will say the question that I'm referring to is mainly the question of, God, did you send this person into my life? Not the question of, is this my husband? Right? So, God, did you send this person into my life? And if God says yes, that does not mean he is your husband. That also could mean that it is a blessing. It is a lesson. It's an assignment. Okay. Now, I actually want to read to y'all, if y'all have not read in the book about Sam. I actually have a real example of how this played out, because I remember I asked God about someone. I said, all right, Lord, did you send this person into my life? And God said yes. And then I met Sam. So on page 62, I met Sam. Sam was a leader in his church, and I honestly felt that God sent a godly man into my life. I asked God if he sent Sam and heard yes. But as I started spending time and dating Sam, I realized Sam and I may not be purpose partners. The good thing about Sam was he confirmed the man sent from God. About Sam was he confirmed the man sent from God will be living in purpose and will have a prayer life. So Sam had that. Sam was, outside of ministry, the work that Sam was doing was his purpose. So he was doing that. He had an amazing prayer life. Love that. Every night, Sam and I prayed over one another. Definitely a new experience. So that gave me an experience that I never had, But one thing I noticed about Sam was he did not hear from God often, and his relationship with God was not strong. This was shocking for me because I had made an assumption that every leader in a church heard from God. But no, it was not true. Sam did things out of tradition, not because he heard from God directly. That was mind-blowing for me, because it was like, wait, we all had this assumption that, and this is when God confirmed to me, because I used to hear God say this and I never met someone personally. A lot of people are not called to pastor. A lot of people just sign up, okay? And I'm not saying that in a funny way at all. A lot of people sign up. They go to theology, they go to seminary school, they sign up because it's a program in college. You can sign up, you can enroll. Like, I could have went I think CNR had theology program, religious program. I could have just taken all religious classes and had like a minor in whatever it was. Okay. So it's not that it is unheard of. It's very, very common. So you have to realize that just because they're a man of God or a woman of God, that just because that they're a man of God does not mean that they actually are hearing God for themselves. So when I met Sam, I was struggling and was facing a lot of financial difficulties in my life. Ever heard God will use your situation to strengthen you? As I reflect back on why God sent Sam, I can only give God praise and glory. So one day, Sam and I went to the bookstore for a date night. He was reading a book, and so was I. The book I was reading spoke on living your God-given purpose. As I tried to focus on the words, I started to tear up. I wanted to stay positive while in my situation and focus on my own God-given purpose. But at that moment in my life, I had no food in my house. And this is a true story. I had nothing in my refrigerator. I was broke. I remember just sitting there crying out to God and asking him to make a way for me to get some groceries. I never spoke a word. It was one of those prayers that was silent, spoken. It was an inward prayer. So when we left the bookstore, Sam asked me, do you need food? And I'm like, I could not believe it. I tried to play it off and say, yeah, I'm a little hungry. Sam said, no, I feel like God is telling me that you need food in your house. As much as I wanted to deny it, I admitted I had no food. I was mad for like 2 seconds that God told stay in my business. I was mad about that. But that was a personal problem I did not want him to know about. So what did we learn here? The first thing was I realized I was on assignment. God brought him into my life so that I can help him to hear God for himself. I'm sitting here in a financial struggle. I'm crying. God, I have no groceries. I have no food in my house. And I'm just like crying. And God told this man sitting next to me, she has no food in her house. You need to buy her groceries. So he went from not hearing God to hearing God. And he's like, wait, she needs food? And so I'm not going to continue to read that. And so what he did was he said, well, if you need groceries, let me know. And I will, I'll tell me what you need and I will buy the groceries for you. I said, no, this is what, because I realized quickly I'm on an assignment. We both about to be blessed here. I said, if God told you I need groceries, then God is going to tell you the list and the things that I need. And he's looking at me like, Tanisha, this is so much easier if you would just tell me what you want. And I'm like, it would be, but I'm realizing God is doing this on purpose. So he went to Costco's and this boy got me everything. I mean, tuna fish, salad, frozen vegetables, coffee, because I know I love my coffee and I couldn't afford Starbucks. Got me some coffee. And he got me some other things. Like he came in with like 2 big bags. And so he said to me, he said, Tanisha, he said, I don't want to be, invasive, but are you on your monthly? And I was like, oh my gosh. Because I literally was just in my closet. We all have like that closet in our house. And I said, Dad, I need to go to my mom's house, and steal some pads. Okay. Yes, I was stealing stuff. And so he said, God told me, but I said, no, she doesn't need that. And I said, I do. Like, I know it's about, the few days away. He said, what kind? I said, again, I'm not telling you what kind. Allow God to tell you. And that boy came back with the right pads that I use. So in that time, he blessed me. I had groceries in my house. But he started to realize that he does hear from God. He has to now pay attention, however he progressed in that. But it was definitely, it affirmed that he can hear from God for himself. And that he was getting accurate answers, like full-blown instructions. And so the beautiful part about the Sam situation was Sam and I, we both decided that we wanted to, because we really liked each other. And he said, you know what, before we move too far, maybe we need to do a prayer and fast. Let's pray and fast together for 3 days. No communication. Don't call me. Don't text me. I will not call and text you. We're going to pray and fast for 3 days. I forgot what time, whatever time on the 3rd day, I'm going to call you. And hopefully by that time, God will have given us both an answer. When he called me, he asked me, he said, on the count of 3, we're going to both say our answer, yes or no. And we both said no. God both told us no. He was not my husband. And honestly, that was the best experience because it allowed me, like, for one, we part ways with no animosity. He never felt like, oh, she was using me or she just wanted my money for some groceries. Like he never felt that way. And I never felt any way about him. So sometimes that's why I say we can't block those connections that are coming in because you simply could be the person that can help someone get closer to God. You can be that blessing for someone. That person could be a blessing for you. We never know. So just because God says, yes, I did send this person into your life, does not mean that God is saying, yes, this person is your husband. So we have to be able to distinguish the two. Now, sometimes you want to ask God, but is he my husband? And honestly, I can say I have never met anyone thus far that made me want to ask this question. Okay. I don't know. I know for a fact I probably have never met my husband yet. Okay. So when we asking God the big question, ask them when you feel ready. If there's a connection that you're just like, look, I'm really feeling this, let me ask God. Do not be afraid to ask because The fear is going to keep you in situations that you're not supposed to be in. Fear is going to keep you in situations that's going to cause you to have long-lasting, investments that can take you away from actually meeting a person that is for you. So you don't want to invest months, years in a person. Ask if you and the person both seek to receive confirmation. That's why I said how Sam and I did that. We both wanted that confirmation. We both didn't want to move any further. And I think we probably invested like a month and a half into one another. We didn't go any further than that. And it's better that way because that person, this is where I feel like the whole mindset and the whole philosophy of ghosting, it really has caused, because there might be that one person. You might be the person that's praying and fasting and you're like, God, give me a sign. Let me know if this person's my husband. And if God says no, you're just like, oh, no need to talk to you. And then you start blocking people. Because a lot of times it's hard to explain. When you get to this walk with God, especially if you're not a person that goes to church, people are going to look at you and like, so God just told you this? Yes, God just told me this. And this is how I live my life. And everyone is not going to understand that. So if you both are asking God for that answer, it's going to make it easier. Now, sometimes God is going to say, so after you ask God, that you send this person, you get to a point and now you're like, is this my husband? Two answers can happen in this case, no or not yet. If you have heard, especially if the person like they want to propose to you and you hear not yet, do not move in, do not move forward. That is not a pass. That's not a yes. All right. Not yet to me is really a no. So do not move forward. And start paying attention to what God might be trying to reveal to you about this person. There might be something that the person has not come forth with. They're not being honest about something. I've heard two situations where they heard not yet. One person said that they heard not yet and they still got married. And a big financial situation came about that impact both their finances once they got married. And then the other person heard not yet, and then found out that before they even got to the wedding date, the person was cheating on them, right? So sometimes we have to just pay attention to that. And like I said, accept the answer for what it is. I want the best that God has for me. So yes, this person might have everything on my needs list. They might be attentive. They might be giving. They might show me all the affection. They speak my love language. We have values that are in alignment. They're living in purpose. They got everything. They're gorgeous in my eyes. And that person, God says, no, you got to just walk away. You have to walk away. You have to be so comfortable with saying, all right, God said no, because I know that the best that God has for me is on the way. God wants us to get comfortable walking away, because you ever seen that meme where like a little girl has a teddy bear and Jesus is saying, give me that little teddy bear. And she's like, no, I don't want to give it to you. Please don't take my teddy bear away from me. And behind Jesus' back was a bigger teddy bear, is a bigger blessing. If you give up that teddy bear, walk away. You don't know what big blessing is going to come. The man that you might be trying to get after might make $75,000 a year. And the man that God has for you, he might make 7.5 million a year. He might, come in. The person that you're interested in, he might be working towards a life of purpose. And God is like, I got someone already in purpose and they're going to help you elevate in your purpose. So we got to really start realizing like God knows best. We got to let our ego go. We got to step, all right, God, all right, you said no, I'm going to trust you, and you got to move forward. So that no and that not yet, just let's walk away, right? So what if God told me that he is my husband? And now I read stories about this. If you do not know the person personally, please do not say anything, okay? And we've heard celebrities talk about this. They walked into the room, or a person walked out on the stage, and then like they claim that they heard God said that's your person. Don't go to that person and be like, hey, God said that you're my husband or that you're my wife. For the guys that are listening, please don't do that, because the person can think that you're crazy. And 9 times out of 10, they might get a restraining order. All right. So continue to pray that God will open that person's eyes. That's really all that you can do. God, open up their eyes. Because like I said on Tuesday, some people are so focused, their tunnel vision is on their business, on their purpose, and they just focus. They focus. They got a goal. They trying to hit goal after goal, goal after goal. It's December 1st. I got to hit this goal by December 31st. They have goals. God, you told me this is my husband. He's not paying me any mind. Lord, I'm going to need you to open up his eyes. I can't do anything besides that. Continue working on the areas that you need to continue to work on too. Continue to work on the areas that you need to heal, right? Continue working on your purpose. Continue to just to do the work. Continue to live, because there might be a development stage that person is in. He might be still developing in something. So often we think that because a man is in purpose, is that, oh, he got it all together. He might work and he might be in purpose, but he might still need to thank you. You know, he might need to be working on his healing, maybe the healing with his past relationships. He might need to be working on the healing with his mother relationship. He might need to work on his health. He might need to work on his emotional health. There's so many different things that we don't realize that can actually need to happen. So do not get discouraged if this person is not paying you any mind yet. Just keep focusing, keep doing your work, because you have to be the best person that God needs for you to be as well for him. All right, it's a two-way street. All right, so practice patience, but be discernment, but use discernment. We have to continue to practice patience. And this is not just patience with the person, but continue to practice patience even with your family, your friends, and even those co-workers, right? Like I said earlier, there are going to be times that this process, asking God, did you send me, this person? If, if the person is, if there's an opportunity that comes, God, did you send this opportunity? Right? God, should I apply for this job? There's things that we still need to start discerning, because again, we don't want us to get caught up in the wrong connection that can still that can cause a disconnect in that future. So you can get into the wrong job. You can become friends with the wrong person. And then that's going to have an impact later on in the relationship that God's about to send to you. So we have to even get more discerned about everything that's going to happen into our life. You got to remain excited and faithful. For those of you that have signed up, I'm working on a playlist, right? I've been on Facebook. I might put it on Instagram too. I need some love songs. I want us to start listening to like true love songs, not I want to have sex with you, want to bend you over. No, I want love songs that speaks to our heart. The words that we want to hear one day from that person. That's what we need to start listening to. We have to start really putting ourselves in this mindset and start speaking. I'm a wife, right? You might need to get you some affirmation cards. Write them. Yesterday I bought index cards and I bought some Crayola markers. And I'm writing all my affirmation cards, right? And every day I'm pulling an affirmation card. You might want to create affirmation cards for your season of single. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am loved. I am a winner. I am a wife. I am healthy, right? Write all of these things, because that is going to keep you in that vibration. Like I always say, that person could come into your life right now. And if you have this negative energy, do you really think that person is going to want to approach you? If like I said, I used to be someone wanted me on a podcast and they wanted to talk negative. Oh, all men are this and all men are that. I could not be a part of that conversation. Because see, I'm a part of the tribe that wants the single women and single men to start believing that there is true love out there. I want those single women and men to start believing that their person is out there for them. That no matter what, if you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you still have the ability to experience true love, the love that God needs for you, right? Oh, thank you, Amina. Can you inbox that? She wrote Love Under New Management by Kiki Wyatt. I don't know. I have never heard that song. So if y'all know any love song, share that, because I want us all to get into this energy. I want, when you are driving your car, you up there like, yes, love, 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 love. Like, we want to hear that, not the other nonsense. All right. And remember, every man that you meet is not your person. But look at that person as, what can I learn from them? That person might be the person that's going to introduce you to your person. So if you start cutting off everyone, well, he's not my man, so I'm not, God said he's not my husband. All right, but if God said, yes, I sent this man into your life, just because he's not your husband doesn't mean that you have to throw him out with the trash. There's still something that I need for him to do, or I need for you to do for him. That person might be the bridge for you to meet your husband. We got to stop getting into this mindset. That's why, that Drake song, he says, no new friends. Well, look, ever since Drake wrote that song, I've seen Drake with a lot of new friends. And some of y'all are still out here listening, no new friends, no new friends. And Drake out here with some new friends, and he seemed like he's doing very well with his life. His money does not seem like it's getting any shorter. He might not be finding love, but some part of his life is still advancing and elevating. So we got to stop putting that blockage. If you have that mindset, if he's not my husband, then he ain't the one for me. Stop that. What can I learn from this person, right? Every person that I meet, what can I learn from them? If God said yes, that person belongs in my life, what can I learn from them? What's going to be the lesson? And then sometimes I ask God, what is my assignment? Because a lot of times, at least for me, I'm on assignment. He sends me, he's like, I need you to help them X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, what about me? And I had to stop having that conversation, because God is like, just do what I need you to do. And this is something that a lot of us need to just continue to do what God needs you to do, and he's going to continue to bless you. Continue to do what God needs you to do, and he is going to bless you. Do not worry about when is that day going to happen. Is it going to be on Monday? Is it going to be on Thursday? Is it going to be in 2022, or is it going to be in 2023? Continue to do your work. Stay on your assignments. Stay positive. Keep that mindset positive. I know it's very easy in the holiday season to get into that mindset, because everyone is like, oh, we have matching pajamas. Be excited for that person. I go under people's comments and I'm like, yes, I love it. I love it. I'm genuinely happy for them. When people share their love stories, how they met their loved one, the person that they're going to marry on TikTok and on Instagram, I'm not jealous of that. Yes, you're giving me hope, because you're reminding me my husband might be on TikTok. My husband might be on Instagram. The more that I continue to speak, I might meet that person because I'm out there speaking. I'm doing the work that God needs me to do. So I have to just stay positive and continue to clap for others, even though I don't have it yet. And I know that's hard. It's very hard for us to clap for other people when we don't have what they have. So continue to clap for them. So be faithful, right? So I do want you to reflect on something as we come to a close, right? I want you, a lot of times we think about the past relationships, we list all of the negative things, right? All of the negative. He was this, he was that, he was this. Think back to your past relationships and just reflect. Was that a blessing or was that a lesson? Right? Very simple, right? John, blessing. Peter, blessing. And the other thing I want you to do is start really challenging yourself. What did you learn about yourself from those relationships? What did you learn about yourself from those relationships? Okay. And are you healing any areas that might have came up? Right? What are areas of healing that you may need to address? And I'll give you a perfect example. One, I think I've shared this before. I had a really bad habit of I'll stay in a relationship too long. I'll stay there forever. 2 years, 2.5 years. It could, the writing is on the wall. It's God is run away. It's all in red, blood, white, everything. God is just every possible sign. And God said no. And I stayed and I stayed and I stayed. So I had to learn that I was staying in connections. I wanted to stay in connections because, it's I didn't want to hurt the other person. The person is hurting me. Mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, they're draining me. But I'm worrying about, well, if I leave them, how is that going to impact them? So a lot of times we would kill ourselves to make somebody else happy. That's not healthy. So I had to realize, no, you have to learn to walk away. And guess what? You know what really motivated me to start having that mindset? When I started quitting jobs that were unhealthy for me. If you can quit a job that's unhealthy, then you can walk away from an unhealthy relationship. If you can quit a job that is unhealthy, that's paying you well, but you know it's killing your soul, it's killing you physically. I had a mild stroke at 22 years old working in corporate America. I know I've stayed places and my body is just like, oh, girl, you don't go sit down. And my body's like, so sometimes you have to realize that. So you stay in this relationship that's broken, that's breaking you because you're worrying about how this other person's gonna feel. Baby, you can't do that no more. You can't do that. You got to start realizing boundaries. You got to start realizing what are your breaking points? What are some of the things? A lot of times we don't worry about the things that we need. We totally ignore that list. We focus on all the things that we want. And a lot of us are staying in relationships where we're not even getting things that we need or want. Like, let's be honest. How many of us have stayed in relationships where we wasn't even getting the things that we wanted, right? We wasn't getting gifts, time, attention, money, so you definitely wasn't getting no affection. You wasn't getting the positive reinforcement. You wasn't getting compassion. You wasn't getting anything, but you're giving everything. You're giving everything. You're giving everything, and you're staying. Why? This is what's going to help you to start identifying, I need to start healing from, right? Everything gets attached to something else, right? I know that for me in 2017 is when, 2016 is when God really had me start working on my daddy issues. Because and that's a part of it. If you have daddy issues, 9 times out of 10, you might stay in the wrong relationships because that's something that you've never had. You never had a man, you never had a male figure tell you that they love you. So the moment that one person says it, you just hold on to it like, he said he loves me. But he's saying he's loving me, he's knocking me inside my head. He said he's loving me, but he's taking my money out my bank account. He said he's loving me, but he's driving my car and he's leaving it on E and bringing it back. He said he's loved me, but he's sleeping with other women. But that man said he loved you because guess what? You never heard your father say I love you. The moment that I healed that relationship with my father, and I mean it's not like a perfect relationship. The more that I start healing that, I have less tolerance. Because guess what? I have identified I do not want a man like my father. See, we have this mindset. We have been told by society, find you a man that's like your father. That only works for the women that have had healthy relationships with their fathers. So we're taking a theory that's in the textbook that does not apply to every little girl. Every little girl did not have a healthy relationship with her father. So now it's like I'm fully aware, and I noticed a lot of the guys that I was dating in my past, especially in my early 20s, they were like my father. Cut that cord. I know I don't want that. That's what I don't want. Let me focus on this. So by me healing that has allowed me to stay away from those kind of relationships. And men that are emotionally detached, and men that's easily to just walk away, right? 2021, I met someone. This person was everything that I would not normally go for, but he was a sweet person. I walked away from that relationship the moment he started to demonstrate characteristics like my father. The moment that he can go 2-3 weeks without speaking to me, oh baby, we're not doing this anymore. We're not playing this game. And you have no remorse. So when he started to demonstrate the same traits as my father, that's when I walked away. I broke up with somebody the day before my birthday to protect my peace. I cared about him, I liked him, but he started to show me he was acting like my father. And I said, I can't do this. And he left with peace. He didn't give me no aggravation. He actually came back sometime this year and he apologized. And guess what he said to me? I'm still not ready to be the man that you need. And I respect that so much because he understood I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to play the games. You're not going to come in and out of my life when you decide to, when you feel like it. This is not seasonal. This is not what you're going to do here. And the last time we spoke was the last time I spoke to him. And I have peace with that because I have realized I have placed those boundaries. I'm standing on them. I'm like 10 toes down. I'm not playing. The moment that you show me anything close to what my father displayed in my life, we can't be together. We can't even be friends. We cannot even be friends. So there is a lot. I mean, when I say to y'all, this conversation with God is just going to make it so much easier. You're going to be like this. You're going to be walking down the street, going into Starbucks. You're going to meet a guy. You're going to be like, hey, girl. You're going to be like, yes. And he's going to be like, you're beautiful. Can I get your number? You're going to be like, hold on 1 second. And go in your bag and look for something. And just be like, Lord, did you send this person? You know? And it becomes like, it makes it fun because you start realizing like God really does want the best for us. He wants the best for us. He does not want us entertaining every single thing that's coming into our life. And if God says, you start getting that feeling in your stomach, a lot of times, at least for me, I get that feeling in my tummy and it'd be like, and I'm like, oh, no, sweetheart, I got a man. I'll lie, I got a man. And he's like, okay, cool. So you just got to do that, you know, and just understand and embrace that, you know, there might be a blessing behind this interaction. It might not be, you know, forever love, walking down the aisle to whatever song that you desire to walk down the aisle. It may not lead to that, but it might lead to, like I said, a new opportunity, a new assignment, a new blessing. It could just be something that's just going to be a beautiful thing that's going to benefit you one day. So I hope chapter 4 has given you some insight because it honestly is one of the chapters that I do love, because it has allowed me to really get closer to God. And when I say I want everyone to get to a space where they're able to walk outside their house and you always go right. And then for whatever reason, God says, no, go left. And you're like, fine, I'm gonna go left. And you go left, right? And then you realize why you went left. That's what I want for people. I want that for you. All right. So tomorrow we are gonna go over chapter 5. My favorite chapters. Chapter 5 is finding your purpose. All right. Living and finding your purpose. So for those of you that are on Facebook and even on Instagram, if you do want a copy of the digital handbook that I have given those that have signed up, you can definitely still register. For those of you who are on Facebook, you go to the description, the link is there and it will allow you to register. It's totally for free and you will get access to that. I do have a special one-on-one coaching opportunity. If you do want to work with me for 2 sessions and 1 month, and we start this process for you as you're starting to heal as a single. You can also go to the description and you can see that. For those of you that have registered, go back to the email. There's a special promo code for those that are registered, and you get an extra 10% off of the savings already. So I thank you for spending time with me this evening. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Friday. I know it's Friday night, but we're gonna try to make it under today we did good. We got 4 minutes to 7. So before we jump off, I want to open up any questions that you might have. Any questions, any comments that you might want to address. Like I said, we have gone through 4 chapters already. So I know there's a lot to really digest. So Amina, you did say that that's definitely you when you stay in situations a lot longer, right? Definitely. That's something that is very common, very, very common. And when I say to you, you got to just figure out why. And you might know why. You might know why you do that. Love under new management. I'm just writing down that song. All right. So thank you, everyone. Like I said, tomorrow, 6 p.m., we will be back. Chapter 5. If you have any questions, you can inbox me, you can email me, however you need to communicate with me, I am here. I would love to connect with you. Be well, be blessed. Okay, Mika Howard. Okay, I'll write that down. Be well, be blessed, and I love you all. Have a good night.